to Planet Pulse with Alec Winslow, the show where we take on the biggest issues of our time with the power of climate change. I'm your host, Alec, and today we're going to talk about how the climate crisis is affecting different genders and socioeconomic classes across South Asia. But don't worry, we'll keep it light and fluffy like a cloud of carbon dioxide. You see, South Asia is one of the most vulnerable regions to climate change. It's like the region is the ex-girlfriend of Mother Nature, and she's getting revenge by sending floods, droughts, heat waves, cyclones, and sea level rise. But not everyone is equally affected. It's like a game of musical chairs, where the poor and marginalized are left standing without a seat when the music stops. Women in South Asia, for example, are already fighting an uphill battle. They're like the soldiers of the climate change war, but with no weapons or armor. They rely more on natural resources for their livelihoods, like agriculture, water, and fuel, but have less access to land, credit, technology, information, and decision-making power than men. It's like the patriarchy has barricaded the door and women are stuck outside in the storm. And as if that wasn't enough, climate change is also exposing women and girls to all sorts of violence, like sexual assault, human trafficking, child marriage, and domestic abuse. It's like the weather gods are having a twisted game of truth or dare, and the women always end up with the dare of surviving these atrocities. But wait, there's more. Women are not just victims. They are also superheroes who can save the day. They have valuable knowledge, skills, and experiences that can contribute to climate action. It's like Wonder Woman has entered the chat. Women can lead the way in water management, renewable energy, disaster risk reduction, and community mobilization. But they need equal opportunities and rights to unleash their powers. That's why gender equality is not just a human right. It's a key to effective climate action. We need to level the playing field and give women a seat at the climate change table. It's like inviting all the superheroes to the Avengers headquarters. We need to provide them with access to education, healthcare, finance, technology, and information that can empower them to take action. So, in this series, we'll explore the stories of how women in South Asia are fighting the impacts of climate change and leading the charge towards a greener and fairer future. It's like the plot of a superhero movie, but with real-life heroes. We'll talk to experts who are trying to turn back time, the doomsday clock, and give us hope for a brighter tomorrow. Next up, we'll meet the climate change activist and expert, Silver Fox, and no, it is not her real name, but it's like she's the Professor X of climate change, with all the knowledge and wisdom to guide us to a better future. But before we start our journey across South Asia, let's take a moment to appreciate our sponsors, Trump Hotels. Yes, you heard it right. Trump Hotels are now offering exclusive deals for climate refugees who want to escape the heat and enjoy some luxury in their underground bunker nation. Trump Hotels, make Earth great again. And now, back to our show. Today, I have a very special guest with me. She is a Pakistani journalist, an academic and climate change activist. She is the Silver Fox, or as we know her, Miss Afia Salam. She has been affiliated with Dawn, Tribune, Newsline, Aurora, The News on Sunday, Third Pole, and Peak Magazine. She has also been a part of trainings and sensitization sessions of school teachers, college and university students, and government officials on the subjects of environment, climate change, and media matters.
Hello Alec, it's good to be on Planet Pulse and you pose some very important questions. By the way, how do you keep so cool in such an extreme weather? I'd really like to know.
I keep cool by using renewable energy sources like solar panels and wind turbines. They don't emit greenhouse gases that make the planet hotter. They also save me money on electricity bills. Plus, they make me look cool, but enough about me. Our audience want to know more about what is going on in Pakistan. What are some of the coping strategies and solutions that women in Pakistan are adopting or developing to deal with the impacts of climate change?
We must bear in mind the fact that Pakistan has been in the top 10 bracket of all the vulnerable countries in the world, which are threatened with climate change. And when you put on a gender lens, you will see that the women of Pakistan are disproportionately threatened because of the cultural position. So wherever you see women and climate change nexus and you are discussing that, the ability to cope actually depends on their cultural status rather than their just being another person threatened by climate change.
So basically, women in Pakistan are not even allowed to make lemonade out of a few lemons, or, as the International Federation of Journalists would put it, they are under the green thumb, or patriarchy. This brings me to my next question. Other than good old patriarchy, what are some of the main challenges and threats that women in Pakistan face due to climate change?
Pakistan is a geographically large country, so women from the north to the south, bordering the agency, face different kind of challenges. So it's not like a one-size-fits-all kind of a threat or the response. And as far as how they are going to cope with it, again, as I mentioned, it is because of the cultural status, and the answer depends on that, where women have more resources, where they have more knowledge, access to knowledge. Their coping capacities are better, but across the board that is not there. So you see the women more vulnerable than the men around them to the same kind of climatic threat. And this is something that we need to focus on when we are trying to build their capacity for those coping strategies. It is a painful and a steep learning curve for them. They are being buffeted by various disasters. There are glacial lake outburst floods. We have alluvial floods. We've had alluvial floods. We have desertification, extreme heat. All these disasters impact women in with a far greater intensity than they do generally the men. And this is why we need to put on a gender lens when we are looking at climate change threats, as well as the adaptation mechanisms and the methods that have been devised.
Looks like climate change is not only messing with the weather, but also giving women in Pakistan a run for their money when it comes to taking care of their family's health. But hey, nothing beats a good old easy nuska, home remedy, to cure any ailment, right? Talking about cures and remedies, what are some of the skills or knowledge that you think women in Pakistan need to acquire or enhance to survive and thrive in a changing climate?
The skills and knowledge also, again, depend on the cultural status, where they are within the society. Do they have agency to exercise what they think should be the coping mechanism to the different disasters? And unfortunately, in Pakistan, generally, climate change is seen in the context of disasters. So we have floods. We have floods very often throughout our history we've had, and that is being exacerbated. The frequency and ferocity of floods and storms is increasing. So how many of our women have the ability to swim, know how to swim away from the path of gushing waters? They don't, because culturally it's not the done thing. So this is just one example that I can quote for you. The rest is because of their specific role in society as reproductive beings. They are bearing a physical burden either of pregnancy or of caring for small children, so whom they cannot leave behind. And then it's that itself hampers their escape from harm. So there are many strategies that need to be put in place. We need to give them agency. We need to get them on the table to decide on what would be best for them, because they have been through disasters several times. They know what kind of threats they face, and they do have an idea, but generally they don't have that decision-making power. So their voices are not mainstreamed into any of the policy solutions. And that is something that needs to change.
Thank you very much, Ms. Afia Salam, for sharing your insights and experiences with us today. You are truly an inspiration for all of us who care about our planet and its people. And that is all for today's episode of Planet Pulse. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more updates on climate change and related issues. And don't forget to tune in next week when we will have another exciting guest with us from the land of tigers and elephants. Until then, stay safe, stay green, and stay tuned. This is Alec Winslow